Thanks for joining us for another Tantrum House crowdfunding conniption. Today we're looking at Iron Forest from Brain Games.
And as always, we want to make sure you're aware that our crowdfunding videos are sponsored in part by our own Kickstarter backers, as well as by the creators of this game. Thanks for joining us at Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Sara Meadows. Today we're looking at Iron Forest. This is in the Ice Cool universe from Brain Games. It's from designer Brian Gomez, and artwork is by Rainus Peterson.
This is a 2 to 4 player flicking dexterity game that takes about 30 minutes to play. Now, we were given this prototype copy in order to check out and share with you. We're not going to be sharing any opinions in this video, but we want to give you a feel for what the game looks like and how it's played. So let's jump in.
To set up the game, you'll need to assemble the lower level of the board and attach the pillars.
Then put the upper level together, attach the corners, and then insert it into the pillars.
Then you'll pick a scenario to play.
Place each mecha on their own depot and set up the rest of the game based on your mode of play.
Players will get dealt power-up cards based on your player count, and then you'll give each team their activation deck and you're ready to begin.
On your turn, you will flip an activation card, and then you will either flick that mecha, or if that mecha is on a lower level in the outer box, you can choose to relaunch it.
Place the launch pad touching the box the mecha is in, and launch it to the next level. Watch out for the holes or your mecha will fall.
Next on your turn, you can activate a second mecha. When your mecha hits an opponent, they flip their card to show that it has taken damage.
That mecha will be removed from the game until the next time its activation card is flipped.
KOing an opponent will earn you additional power-up cards that you can play to gain special abilities.
Gameplay continues back and forth using the turn markers. At any time the activation decks are exhausted, reshuffle, and this marks the end of the round. Players may trash their hand of power-up cards if they'd like, and then everyone draws back up to 2 and the next round begins.
Play continues until one team has successfully completed their mission, and then they win the game. In the fantastical land of Nemus, which is apparently somewhere in the Ice Cool universe, a bunch of animal clans have developed and utilized the ancient technologies of the land in order to build their civilization. However, the mechas themselves have reawoken, and now this new Iron Force is fighting back in order to steal the technology back from the people who stole it or something, I don't know. But in the game, you'll be facing off against one another, trying to flick your cool little minis against one another and fulfill the objectives that are listed on your mission card.
Yes, to set up your scenario that your group has chosen. Each scenario card has a different mission for each of the two teams to fulfill to win the game. And so you'll just follow the very simple setup for those and then make sure and give each player in the game a turn token. And so if you're playing 2 players, it's just going to go back and forth. If you're playing 3 players, you'll have a team of 2 and a team of 1. And then obviously 4 players, you'll each get to take a turn each round. And then once that activation deck runs out, you'll get to reset for the next round, so you'll shuffle. If you don't like your power-up cards, you can exchange those out for new ones, and so on.
The game features some really fun art on all the cards. The minis for it are very well weighted, similar to what you got in the Ice Cool experience. You can do some of those neat tricks where things spin around. The launcher for this game, we actually had an opportunity to play earlier prototypes of Iron Forest. Some of those had the bottom base layer being the exact same size as the top layer, and they've streamlined that just a little bit to make it easier to get in and reach the different objectives, or to be able to achieve the different flicks that you need underneath. They've also perfected that launcher so that pretty much every single time it goes right about where you want it to or where you hope it will. It's got a very nice feel to the flick, and the object pieces land pretty much right where you need them to. The dexterity on the launch is far less skill required than the actual flicking of on the board.
Yeah, if you do happen to miss on your launch, your character takes the damage. So there are scenarios where you do want to try and damage other players. There's some where you, it's just a bonus in the game of trying to slow down the other team because you're trying to get through specific doors and unlock stuff. So whichever scenario you're playing will be kind of a different focus. There are some dice that will mark health in the game of your characters, and then there are also some tokens that will mark having different players be in different rooms at the same time. So there's tons of different objectives in some of those missions, so each game will feel a little different.
Yeah, and that's where you're going to get your replayability from this game, because you are going to be trying to do very different things. Some of them might be player elimination, some of them might be hitting specific depots, some of them might be being in a box where nobody else is so that you can launch into a box where nobody else is. There's some very specific goals that they have laid out for you. Obviously, you can play just the player elimination that you did kind of in high school, or you can play any number of different options.
Player elimination is your mecha elimination. It's not actually the characters. So your team is controlling 4, and whenever you draw from that activation, that's which one you are going to be using. So you might have one that's eliminated, but you still have the other 3.
Right, and you can
so
still
your team will still be taking the same turns. It will just be, oh, this mecha got knocked out, so that turn is kind of a wasted turn. So there isn't actually one player sitting out. You'll still be playing the whole time.
Right, absolutely. If Iron Force looks like something that you're interested in, then definitely check it out on Kickstarter now. And as always, thank you guys so much for liking and following along here, subscribing to our videos at Tantrum House. We'd love to know what you guys think of Ice Cool and what is most interesting to you in Iron Force, so let us know those in the comments. In order to fulfill a number of specific different types of missions, I've said a lot of extra words. Battery didn't even go dead. It's almost dead. We made it.